Woohoo!
All right. Let's see. Is everybody here? I am recording. Good, good, good. Let's see if people come in now. Yep, 9. It's 9 people so far. Let's see. And my attendees list.
Oh yeah, they're hopping
Hey,
in now.
yeah, here we come. Hey, everybody. Keep on coming in. Let's give it another minute so let people come in. And those that are watching the recording later on, just don't mind us. I just want to give everybody as much time as they need. Get here. And but yeah, welcome to this Simple Steps program. We are going to do it up, describe all the different things you're going to need to know to get started as a business. And I don't see my assistant in the list yet, so I guess he's not here. If you are here, put something in the chat so I can see it. And because I'm not sure who my assistant is this time, but usually they have to come in through here, just come in as regular people, and I add them.
The Jasmani Flores said
Hmm?
here. Is that your assistant?
Oh, you
They
just say
mentioned
here. Yeah.
okay.
Jasmine, are you my assistant? No, no. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I need an assistant. I'm now hiring assistants. Yes. So great. There's 20 now.
It's awesome.
Super duper, super duper. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to work with me doing the share screen thing. I'll try to watch the chat. If you want to watch the chat, Christy, you can too.
Okay, sure.
Someone asks a question you know the answer of. Christy here is Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. She's going to be doing a presentation after mine, showing you all the stuff about the really awesome, I mean, totally awesome research tools that are there at the library. Some of those tools you can access from anywhere in the state, even if you're not a Charlotte resident, through the nclive.org program where you just need your library card and go to NC Live and log in, find your library, log in with your library card number, and you get access to similar resources she's going to show in her thing. Not all, some of those, Charlotte pays big bucks to get hold of those.
Yeah, I mean, but you can also get an out of county card. So if you do want our resources, it's $45 a year, 35
Yep.
bucks a year if you're a senior. And for some, it might be worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. The amount of data you get, especially the demographic, the heat map thing, the ability to go, some of those mapping systems that you've got are amazing. But yeah, anyway, so I see we have 22 people and it's starting to settle out. So I'm going to go ahead and give this thing a start here. Let me start I better share the screen first and then there we go. And then share it. And screen 1, sharing screen 1. And hit the big button. I hope it works. There we go. All right, super. And I can see the chat. Excellent. Okay. Well, welcome to this edition of Simple Steps for Starting Your Business. These are your startup basics that we show everybody how to get their business started. The things you have to take into consideration that you want to know in order to be running a business. And I'll try to include some little extras as I see fit as part of this whole thing. But let me just double check. Everybody can hear us okay, and you can see the slide that says simple steps for starting your business, correct? Put that in the chat if you would. Get people started. Yes, and it is being recorded. Thank you for asking, Allie. All righty, we are going. We're cooking. And I got you started. Now, remember, you can type questions into the chat. I will be watching the chat. I'm alone as far as running this thing, but I'll try to catch your questions there. And Christy's also monitoring the chat. Okay. All right, let's go on. So there we are. I'm having to click twice for some reason. Anyway, welcome to this first one of Simple Steps. Starting your business. What this session does is it introduces you to key business considerations. Now, there's a whole 5-week course, but this is the very first step. The big course will help you evaluate all of your business ideas so you can reach a go or no-go decision. And that's what you're really much here to do. You're trying to decide whether this is the right thing for you to be doing, and for all the different reasons, not just financial and not just interest, but many, many different things. Okay. So this is something that all of us chapters are really into, is making sure that people are really in the right space, head-wise, environment-wise, financially, interests, capabilities, all those different things, to be jumping into something as demanding as running your own business. Because well, we're going to hit all the myths, pretty sure. Now, remember, you can always get a free mentor one-on-one via these Zoom type meetings. We do occasionally, if you're close by, we do occasionally meet people in restaurants and, coffee houses and stuff. But most of it's done via Zoom these days. Or we can also mentor people by email. I've also emailed people, mentor people just by phone. So. But yeah, you can get yourself one. You go to charlotte.score.org, or if you're not in the Charlotte area, just go to score.org. I'm in the Coastal Carolina chapter, for instance, out here on the coast. So, all righty. So let's take this the next step. Now, what we're going to be going through here is the various things that people are going to be thinking about. We're in startup basics right now. The future steps that you'll be taking in the other courses are: session 2 will be the business concept you have. Session 3 is the marketing plan. Session 4 are your financial matters, and session 5 is the funding options. Okay. And in all of those, you can be talking to a mentor that you get about these issues that you learned in each one of these steps. So, but pretty early on, you're going to be making a go or no-go decision here. Whether to go on, and the mentor is going to help you make that decision. We're talking about your business concept. Okay. So do hook up with the mentor as soon as you can. Highly recommend it. Okay. Okay. So here's the big question. Are you ready? Well, of course you are. What you're going to learn in this one: workshop benefits, the myths and realities of entrepreneurship, the critical success factors, knowing your options, components of business ownership, making it legal, your business plan basics, self-assessment, and next steps. And this will be about an hour and a half of me talking very constantly. And then Christy's going to make a presentation about the library. Okay. Okay, so the benefits of taking this whole workshop, whole thing, is going to help you develop your feasibility plan. It's going to take you through the decision-making process. Going to give you some information to help make that go or no-go decision on your business idea. It has the core information to create a complete business plan that will be later paid attention to by bankers and investors. Now, most bankers and investors aren't going to be interested in you for the first year or even possibly 2 years, because they want to see that you've been able to manage your cash flow and keep things under wraps, keep good records, and not spend money on crazy stuff like 10 Cadillacs for your fleet. And anyway, it's still, if you don't start now, you want to have all this documentation, your business plan and your spreadsheets all getting started as soon as possible, right out the door, because that's going to be the language of business as bankers and investors see it, and also grant people. All right. So anyway, the workshop's also going to give you the key directions you need to get started. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's get over these myths and realities of entrepreneurship. As an entrepreneur, you won't have to work that hard or put in such long hours. Well, gee, is that a myth? Yes, that is a myth. Okay. you'll actually probably work harder than you're working at your present job. And there's no such thing as passive income, really. You really have to take care of a lot of issues. You got to take care of bills, you got to take care of your spreadsheets, take care of making sure the people who work with you are getting the job done, make sure your website works, making you have a lot of responsibilities you have to keep up with. Myth number two, my product or service is unique and there is no competition. Well, that's a myth because if there's no competition, then it probably isn't something anybody wants. And so you'd have to do some pretty stringent market testing to make sure that it is something as unique as it is, that it's something that's actually sellable. You actually want to see competition, to tell the truth. You want to have a competition. That's proof that it's a viable idea. All right, myth number three. Business owners can deduct everything so you don't have to pay taxes. Wow. Tell that to the IRS. No, it's definitely not true. You can't deduct everything. You can deduct some things. There's a whole bunch of things you can deduct, but not everything. As a business owner, you won't have a boss. Well, you actually will have a boss, especially as a business owner. Your boss is your clients. If you're not making your clients happy, they are going to fire you and they won't use your business anymore. So, yes, you have a boss. Business owners get to do whatever they want to do. Well, yeah, you get to do whatever you want to do as long as you're also running the business and getting the work done. So, yeah, it's, you know, there's actually more work than glamour in the beginning years. And you really do have to knuckle down. You have to kind of get a mindset that this is what you want to do. You want to be knuckling down. You want to be taking out the trash and negotiating with vendors and managing employee issues and dealing with insurance and shipping orders and handling emergencies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It is enjoyable and rewarding work. So if that's whatever you want to do, then it's going to be great, right? Then that's whatever you want to do. So, but you get the idea. Okay, so another reality here. Planning is key. You want to be doing proper planning. Now, you see, after 2 years, you have this success rate. This is based on Bureau of Labor Statistics, all these other places. The percent of new businesses that failed is about almost a quarter of businesses have started, and 3/4 are successful after 2 years. Okay, so that's seems pretty promising, right? Um, so all right, so no problem, right? Except that after 5 years, it becomes down to 50-50. Half of the businesses fail. And that's percent of new businesses with more than 2 employees. Okay. So it it doesn't get easier necessarily. All kinds of things might be happening, but you can plan for these contingencies that might be happening in the future. Okay. You can plan for this stuff so that you don't end up in trouble. Most of the reasons why small businesses fail is lack of planning, insufficient capitalization, money at startup, the mismanagement of their cash flow. They go right out and get a corner office in a Cadillac, and improper pricing, where they didn't price their stuff competitively. They got into a price war by commoditizing their product. So that's what usually brings people down. You can plan against that kind of stuff happening to you. And that's what I want you to do. Another thing is, do you have what it takes? Do you have the education and experience in your field? Do you have that strong work ethic where work is actually enjoyable to you? Do you have effective time management skills? So you actually show up when you're supposed to show up and make it to appointments on time and stuff like that, and don't put things off and procrastinate. I don't mind a good deadline, but one that's created by procrastinating to the last minute, not my favorite kind of deadline. The ability to manage and multitask, the willingness to ask for help and take advice from others. And I sure hope if you're going to get a mentor, you'll listen to them. And having adequate capital. That's being able to have enough money or cash flow to be able to manage things like advertising, for instance. So many people are underfunded. They don't realize they're going to have to pay for ads. But anyway, uh, do you have these financial resources you'll need? You're going to have to get tools and equipment, leasehold improvements if you're renting a storefront. Usually you lease a totally empty space. It's bare bones, nothing on the walls, empty. And you're the leaseholder in that case, and you're having to do improvements to the space to turn it into an actual store. You have to pay for licenses and permits that might be mandated by your state, like restaurants and things like that. You may have professional fees that you've got to pay to be part of an association, professional association and things like that. You have to buy your initial inventory. If you're selling goods, you'll have to be able to stock your store with stuff. And do you have a working capital reserve fund for when things happen that you didn't expect to be happening? Like everybody out on the Outer Banks has to deal with the fact that a hurricane might come through and they're going to have to deal with that. All right. So it's your capital reserve fund. It handles things like suddenly needing to hire more employees and buying different insurance. It might be mandated, all kinds of things. So you have to be thinking, okay, what's my slush fund? What was my wiggle room money? More financial considerations are the total monthly cost of living, your total monthly cost of living. Figure out, all right, this is the amount of money I need to get by. Okay. When you're figuring your budget, you got to figure your mortgage and rent, your groceries, your entertainment, utilities, your child care, your medical care, clothing, your gifts, allowances. Every dollar you spend, figure this out, how much you spend, and consider whether you should scale back your monthly expenses by eliminating extras like premium cable and daily lattes. and because that'll be money that you can use to buy advertising with, for instance. All right. Consider whether you should. I did that. Outstanding debt will impact your future credit and be an added burden when you're on your own. So try to knock off your outstanding debt as soon as possible. Figure how much you've got in savings. You want to have at least 6 months of living expenses saved if you're talking about quitting your job to pursue your business. You don't just gamble on that it's going to all work and be rosy. It may not be. So have 6 months of living expenses saved. So figure out, okay, what are my living expenses times 6? I should have that much cash in the bank. And so, yeah, cover at least 6 to 12 months of expenses. Usually, not sometimes, usually a slow start is a safer way to go, though. And so really consider where you can start your business on the side while you maintain your current job. That's what I say. All right. All right. Well, know your options. Well, when you're starting a business, there are advantages and disadvantages. One of them being you're not hampered by we're talking about starting a brand new business, your own business. Okay. You're not hampered by previous reputation or technologies of an existing business. So you see, we're talking your business versus buying a business. Okay. Choose your own location. You get to choose your own location, your name, your logo. You build your own relationships, and relationships is key. You always build great relationships and explore new markets and directions that might exist. And this is where sometimes new markets really are, where a market didn't exist. You don't have any competitors. So you're starting your own business to actually bring something brand new to market. I would definitely look for parallels, though. Make sure that there's some kind of market for a similar type of thing, that you are standing on the shoulders of giants, so to speak. And when you're opening up this new market, is not just something that's completely different from anything that's ever existed, because humans have been humans for thousands and thousands of years, and our needs haven't changed enormously. All right, the disadvantage of starting your own business, though, there's no existing customer base to build on necessarily, right? It's not like buying a store from someone else that already has a name and visitors and all that. You're taking a bigger risk, and Since you have no track record, you end up having difficulty in getting financing of any kind, from banks, investors, grants even. You don't have a track record, and so you haven't been able to prove yourself. So those are the advantages and disadvantages, but still starting your own business is a fantastically exciting thing to do. All right, now what if you buy an existing business? Well, the advantages are you've got an established clientele and suppliers in a known location where people are already used to going there for that kind of stuff. Okay. Having the suppliers already in place is huge, huge thing. The business is a known quantity with a proven formula and name. You can review the financial records of the business that you're buying. And since the business has a track record, it might be easier to obtain financing from a bank because they'll already go, oh, you're bought Green's department store. Yeah, they've always been successful. And the bank's a little easier on you. They might be the same bank that the person used who you're buying the business from. The disadvantages are the potential hidden issues like debts, poor reputation, loyalty to the owner. That's a disadvantage because some customers only go to that company because they had loyalty to the owner, and it was taken over by a new owner for no reason whatsoever. They just leave and go to a competition. Might be out of date inventory. Gosh, I had a friend who bought a store. It was leather goods, and all the leather goods had to be 10, 15 years old, brittle, falling apart. You had to buy everything new. And or transfer issues, okay, where you're transferring all kinds of things that you might be having to transfer, deeds, insurances, all that kind of stuff. Does the business have a good reputation in the area? You might be buying into inheriting a bad reputation, right? Is the inventory obsolete, as I mentioned? Will you have an employee issue, like where they were loyal to the owner and now they resent the new owner? And there's no guarantee that the success of the existing business that you bought is going to continue. So you might want to work with an experienced business broker who can help you navigate many of these different things. And there's a lot of deals. You have to get professional advice. You have to look at the records that are to be reviewed by an attorney and accountants. So like a business broker can often help you if you are thinking of buying a business. Okay. Now, buying a franchise is another way to go. And make sure, I'm just worried I might have overclicked just then. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so buying a franchise, the advantages are that you're part of a proven system with proven products and services. That's why they're a franchise. They've already gotten their systems in place. The marketing and sales power of the franchisor is that they've already built your brand, usually through advertising campaigns that are managed by the franchisor themselves. You get training and professional guidance and a continued consulting relationship with the people that are in charge of franchising and are basically managers that their primary job is making sure that the people who bought the franchise are successful. And you get access to other franchisees for help too. A lot of them even have conventions and stuff where they all meet and talk and meet each other and share ideas. So that's a great thing. So remember, a franchise is basically it's a right granted to an individual or a market. It's a right granted to an individual or a group, I should say, that's going to market a company's goods or services in a certain territory or location. So you're buying a business in a box, basically. Okay, so where it can become negative is you get limited freedom to make your own decisions. You're not always your own boss. You're paying ongoing royalty and other fees. Your binding contract exists that limits your exit options. So often, if you want to quit and leave, you're not allowed to work for a competing franchise, and things like that are in your exit options. And you may have the franchisor problem. The franchisor may end up being politically very unpopular for some reason, and those become your problems, right? So also locations, the profitability can vary widely. Even though some locations might be cleaning up, right? Others are not doing as well. So this place will get 40,000 a year after expenses, and another one will get six figures, right? It's like, uh, just because that sandwich shop does well in one town, there's no guarantees of equal success in another town. But usually franchises have a really good formula for establishing locations. And so a lot of that stuff's researched for you. And it's not as big a concern. But, just realize, ask questions. And of course, you big franchises, UPS Store, Domino's Pizza, McDonald's, all that stuff. So they all have good systems. In fact, I think Ray Kroc at McDonald's pretty much invented the system concept. All right, so your home-based and remote businesses. It's you got the advantages of a convenient work location because you roll out of bed and you're at work. You got less overhead because you're not having to pay for a storefront or office. Flexible schedule. You have the tax advantages because you can set up some write-offs with the IRS and sometimes even in your state that where you can write off, I think, up to 25% of your space that's used for home business. And you can hire people anywhere in the United States or the world because of remote working and all that kind of good stuff. The disadvantages is you got to look into your zoning and your deed restrictions, whether you're allowed to have a business there. Like a lot of places, if you're renting, they won't allow, and also certain neighborhoods, they won't let you have a lot of traffic there. The zoning says, no, 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 you can't be having cars in and out all the time. So you can't have a general store where you're located, right? And that kind of stuff. There's the isolation from others is a big deal. A lot of people, well, not a lot, but some people do struggle with feeling lonely when working at home. So you can make up for this by getting involved in your local community with events and nice things for people, attending the Chamber of Commerce, mixers, doing volunteering with SCORE, for instance, and or at your library, yeah, and so you can make things happen. So you keep having a social life that's related to the business. Okay, um, there's difficulty in finding financing for home businesses, even if they're pretty well established for a while, and of course, family distractions can be a problem if you've got you know, that 18 kids running around the house and you're trying to be on the phone. No, I don't care if it's one kid. It's going to be family distractions. So anyway, yeah, it's those are some of the disadvantages, but a lot of times the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. So it's all a decision you have to make. Okay, now, what do you want to start a nonprofit? Um, well, you might qualify for some government or foundation grants. You get protection from liability for the directors and employees, just like you would with a regular corporation. And you can pay salaries to employees and consulting fees for contractors. So you can have 1099 employees, contractors. And so basically, the advantage of a corporation. The disadvantages are, though, that you've got to focus on educational or charitable purposes. You can't profit from those who created, you can't profit from what you do in terms of having money to, investing in the stock market and things like that. There's a bunch of little rules of things that you cannot do. All money that you bring in has to go back into your nonprofit organization. Of course, you're paying salaries and things like that, but that's not what I mean. I'm talking about the remaining actual profits after expenses have to go back into the organization. So you must qualify and you must apply and qualify for the 501c3 status and or the sales tax exemption. Okay. So this is a bunch of things you've got to really think it through about whether you're going to want to be a nonprofit. You can what am I trying to think of? The sales tax exemption. It's not the only place where you have sales tax exemption, by the way. if you are a retailer and you're selling goods that you buy from a distributor, then you also get a sales tax exemption to buy those goods because the state doesn't tax twice for things. Okay. So then you get a special tax, a resale number when you get your tax number. Most of them operate with a minimum of 3-person board of directors. Be very careful about who you pick for your board of directors. They really are going to call all the shots. You can pay salaries to employees, consulting fees for work done on its behalf. And you might get some grants. You might qualify for a lot of grants, but usually you have to really prove that you're being a benefit to the community in some way that's tangible for the people, within the guidelines of the people giving grants. So, but in most ways, you're operating the same way as a for-profit corporation. Okay. But like I said, keep in mind, corporate profits can't be distributed to shareholders or high-level managers. All profits remain within the organization, as there's no owners of the corporation in this case. Okay, well, there's a lot more to know, and you really want to talk with a lawyer. A lot of times, if you want to start a nonprofit, you can get a lawyer as a pro bono. They'd be happy to help you for free in exchange for them thinking that you will hire them in the future to do other paid types of work. All right, keep all that stuff in mind. All right, now what about an online business? That seems very attractive, and I'll bet you there's a whole bunch of people here that wondering about online businesses. Well, of course, the advantage is lower startup costs, and people are accepting now shopping online, not like we used to be, where people were nervous about shopping online. You get that expanded geographic reach where you can reach the entire world as far as the internet goes. And you have the convenience and accessibility for customers. They can shop 24/7, and you have flexibility for you to do business anytime from anywhere. So I don't recommend it, but you could run your business out of a coffee shop. But talk about distractions. um, the disadvantage is there's low barriers to entry, and so there's more competition in the same area. That doesn't mean you can't make this thing happen by differentiating yourself. I'll talk about commoditizing versus differentiation later on. Consumers have higher expectations and are less tolerant of problems. Yeah, they're very quick to jump ship and go to a competitor if they have any kind of problems. Loyalty is not really necessarily going to be high unless, again, you've differentiated yourself very well and have fantastic customer service. And there is no personal contact, so to speak. And so there's a limited sensory info for customers. They're having to do everything from your web page and from things you write and videos you make and stuff like that. So emails they receive. But that's all stuff you can overcome by good marketing practices. Okay. So yeah, a lot of good advantages, I would definitely think. I mean, it works for a lot of people, and a lot of people that are brick and mortar have expanded where they have a parallel online business for their brick and mortar store or for their services company. And their nonprofits often have a robust online presence. So the online business is not just necessarily the only thing that you're doing. Nowadays, it can be a big aspect of any business. All right, so the components of owning a business. Just how many hats are you going to wear? Sort of all of them. You're going to be the CEO. You're going to be the administration. Well, you might partner up with some people that'll help you out, but most likely you're going to be starting out doing all these things: accounting, the human resources, marketing, sales, the customer service part, the production and fulfillment. And of course, handling the technology, getting a computer to work and the microphone set up and the camera and all that, and keeping your facilities in good shape. The maintenance, if you have a storefront, and cleaning it and getting taking care of the plants outside and landscaping, whatever it is that you're having to do, you'll be doing it all, or at least managing it getting done by various means. But as you continue, you will be bringing in people, and I recommend you analyze yourself. If you have weaknesses in any of these areas, then look for somebody that you can bring in. If you're uncomfortable working with numbers, for sure, hire a bookkeeper. They're one of the greatest values out there in terms of hiring people. How do you envision your organizational chart now and in the future? And which roles will you hire out? And in what order of priority you're going to bring these people in? Okay. So, um, yeah, that's a decision you got to think about. And that's a great thing to be talking with your mentor about. So in marketing, these are the strategies used to create a desire to purchase. All right. It creates and promotes your image and builds your brand. Your brand is your public facing image, how people remember you, how people, when they think of this product, you're the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. And you got to just face it, your product or service is not going to sell itself. You're going to have to get out there and let people know that you exist. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Um, Somebody's yelling outside of my hall. I hope you're all hearing that. It's a little entertainment value. Now, when I say strategies used to create a desire to purchase, that's sort of the prelude to the advertising. Okay. Advertising is part of marketing, but marketing really includes getting people to kind of know, like, and trust you even before you've offered anything for sale. It's what you do in your public facing that makes people relate with you as honest and trustworthy and a good people and people they'd like to do business with. They summarize it as know, like, and trust. So marketing is not just that stage of making the sale or of buying the advertising or even of getting referrals afterwards. It includes all those things. But the pre-sale stuff, the marketing that precedes making a sale and the brand recognition parts are super important. So that's part of the strategies. Okay. So just keep that in mind. And the branding is the part, like I said, where you could build up the name recognition. People say, yeah, those people, they're fantastic. Best customer service. You got testimonials from people, word of mouth. Um, it's the qualification of your product or service. Is it this the high quality stuff, or is it the really best prices, or whatever you're going for? Your market identity in terms of how you stand. Are you the premium place? Are you the bargain basement place? Are you the one with the best customer service? And of course, your advertising carries your brand and helps us support the branding that you've done through your logo, your presence on the web, and your posts on social media and all that kind of stuff. Then you buy advertising. This page basically spins off of that, using the branding as the support system for your advertising. So when people see the ads, they already know, like, and trust you. They've already heard of you. Okay. That's a big deal. Sales is actually making the sale. When I say sales, I'm talking about making the sale, getting people to sign the bottom line or give the cash over. So that involves contact and connecting with the customers and finding prospects. In the world of like label printing, the salesmen are often paid more than the people that own the business because they have to actually get on the line and find the prospects, people that need labels being printed. There's a lot of businesses like that, where the salespeople find you your customers. And that involves making presentations, whether they're over the phone or in person or by mailings. You're preparing bids, you're closing deals, and you're processing the orders. Okay, so when you go into a retail establishment, of course, most of it is about closing a deal, saying, would you like, need to wrap that for you and processing the order, right? But a lot of businesses are more involved in terms of the sales process, and some sales processes are long. Selling large items like bulldozers and things, the sales process is often in terms of 6 months, even a year before the sales cycle is complete, someone actually buys. So take all that into account. Okay, so you have to ask yourself if you have these skills that you're going to need. Okay. Are you weak in any areas of business operation? Can you take a course to improve your skills? If there are duties that don't fit your skills, can you hire employees to take on a partner or outsource these tasks? And even if you are skilled in all these roles, you won't have time to handle all of them. I mean, you got to decide which are most important to your business and which you'll focus on now and which you'll delegate if you have the capability. Okay. But as far as your product and service, you really got to always be thinking who needs this product and why, the big why they call it. Why do they need this product? How is it different or better than the competition? But that's important. Differentiation. That's the word different, differentiation. And so you want to be focusing on that kind of thing. And so, but the big why do they need it? What's the problem they're trying to solve with your product? Okay. Always be asking that. And
I
Christy, do you have
believe that
something?
Amanda has a question. Amanda
Okay.
Racier?
I
She
didn't
had
see
raised
it.
her hand.
Oh, cool. And let's see, I got to get to that.
She didn't put anything in the chat, but she raised her hand, so I'm not sure what
Okay,
her
Amanda,
question
do you have a
is.
question? I have to get to the participants and open you up. Put it in the chat if you've got a question. I can see the chat right away. Oh, there you are. Amanda Rassier. Want me to allow you to talk? There you go. Unmute your microphone. You can ask a question. Amanda? No, maybe not. Well, let me know in the chat if you still got a question. Meanwhile, I'll put your hand down, okay? Don't worry about a thing. All righty. So I don't even know where that part is in here. Q&A, there we are. No open questions, good. No, put that in the chat or in the Q&A if you do have a question. We'll handle that. Going to be doing a lot of Q&A later on. Oh, man. Yeah, I see you're turned on. Oh, did you write the question and put it inside the camera? Huh, I can't read that. If you could unmute, I can't see what you've written on that piece of paper. Oh, well, anyway, moving on. Okay, location, location, location. These are the critical factors you got to consider, especially if doing a brick and mortar. Where your place is, not just where you're physically located, what's your niche and target market? Who the niche being the word that nobody knows how to pronounce. It's either niche or niche, depending on who you talk to. But that's your target market, your people that you're going to be selling stuff to, the people that are interested in your product. In fact, that are most interested. You got to be looking at your competition, where they're located, and what they're doing, how they're selling. Are they doing bargain basement, whatever? Somebody's trying to compete with you on price. You can overcome the price wars by simply differentiating yourself with stellar service or with some other types of features where you specialize in a certain way of selling the goods or teaching people how to use the goods. Okay. Your distribution channels of how do you get stuff to people? How do you use UPS and FedEx and all that kind of stuff? Can they get to your place? A lot of stuff can be just used by the United States Post Office, but a lot of people do sell worldwide, and you got to consider, what kind of shipping is available worldwide. And your merchandising, usually we think of merchandising as the placement of the items inside of a store, like your end caps, where the, canned goods are placed versus where the sweets are placed and the baking goods are placed. That's merchandising, is deciding where you're going to be putting stuff in your store, but it's also how you put stuff on your website, how you arrange your website. and things like that. Okay, big topic. Other critical factors are the consumer reaction and let's see. Yeah, your price is the strongest signal to the customer is the product's perceived value and position in the market. So that's the customer sets the price and shows what the market can bear. But a higher price equals higher expectations and vice versa, right? And a low price might lead to loss of perceived value. So if you're trying to compete with somebody who's in price wars with you by lowering their price, just realize they're probably creating a perceived value that their stuff is cheap. And so you can differentiate yourself by selling stuff at higher prices, which gives the perceived value of value to people for your version. It might be the exact same product, but you've got better support, you've got better, customer support systems, you've got faster services, you may have great education services there on your website, how to use the product. You might have actual hand holding where people call up the people and help them use the product. All that kind of stuff helps differentiate yourself and qualify your charging a higher price. So avoid those price wars as much as you can. Don't want to ever get into that. So you got to look into the cost of the item, how much you can get it for, what the competition's charging. Again, avoid price wars, and you also can offer credit terms and discounts for like volume purchases and things like that. Okay. Now, credit terms can make your product a lot more attractive. The fact that people can get things on. So, a ticker. She says there's a ticker on the screen. I don't see the ticker, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it looks like it's
Oh,
about your speed, like your internet speed or something.
on mine?
Yeah, it looks like it's on the
Oh, I
presentation. I
see
see
it.
it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I see it. We'll close that. Yeah, that's an add-on I got. It shows me whether I'm downloading and uploading speeds. I didn't know, I didn't realize it was still there because it goes transparent on me. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Who would have thought my geeky stuff would be showing up in a presentation? All right, so anyway, um, but do look at the value chain. Create a sales force through a reward system. Okay, so make it so when people are repeat customers, they get rewards. That's a great thing to do. That they get points. I buy a lot of plugins and almost all the music plugins for my recording software and for my instruments. Almost all of them have some kind of point system where the more you get from them, the more points you get, and the more points you get, the less you pay when you buy something else from them. So, so it's a way of metering out or mitering out the savings or the value of a coupon. Anyway, just more ideas. But again, don't get into price wars, please. Okay. So your competitors, really assess them. It says access them. I think it's supposed to say assess them. Look at the size of their operation and the number of employees. Okay. Um, really think it through. Are they perhaps overamped? Or they have too few employees? Can they provide the customer service that you'd like to provide? Look at the price and the qualities of their products that you're selling. Look at the services they provide and their reputation, their strengths and their weaknesses, their personal visits. I mean, do personal visits and observations. If you're talking brick and mortar, going and looking at competition, I mean, do go into your competition and shop there. Take a look, see what they've got, how they're displaying it, how they're merchandising things, who their suppliers and contractors are. They may have suppliers that have been supplying that family for years, their family business for years of your competitor, and give them really great prices that they're never going to give you without you being with them for 10 years, right? So you got to look at, so who are their suppliers and what kind of prices they're probably getting, because that if you're in price wars, that might be exactly how they're able to undercut you, is that they get everything much cheaper from their suppliers. And look at their contractors that do their different things, their signage, printing. uh, they might have contractors that come in and do their merchandising, stuff like that. So, and also look at other businesses that are nearby, uh, around and in the vicinity of your competition. If a company is next to another very successful company or a very successful franchise where there's a lot of traffic, a lot of foot traffic, that might be what's making them succeed, is that there's already a lot of foot traffic in that area, or foot traffic or drive-by, right? A lot of car traffic. And so people are already going into that shopping center or into that mall or into that area of town. And because they're going to this place that's very successful, and that brings traffic to you. So you have to think, is that what's making this place successful, that their location is so great? If so, it might be something you either have to overcome or just think of moving your business to a similar type of location. All right. All right, good old making it legal. Okay. Um, you have the different forms of a business that, and everybody always asks, which one of these should I set up as? Your sole proprietorship is really just you. It is you. So anything that happens is on you. You're where the buck stops. Now, this is true in other ways, and I'm going to get to that, but pretty much your liability is all on you. If something happens that your company made an error of some kind and you get sued, then you are being sued. And this is one of the reasons why people are nervous about having a sole proprietorship, is the liability issue. But most all businesses start out this way. It's very inexpensive. In North Carolina, I think it's $26. You go into your uh, the registrar of deeds office anywhere in any county in North Carolina and give them 26 bucks, and you get to register five doing business as names for your company in that, with that one laydown of $26. And you check a little box on the form, and now you can do business in all 100 counties in North Carolina. So, I mean, what a great deal. $26 cash, by the way, cash. And bingo, you 5 businesses going. So there's nothing in the way of you becoming a business, a bona fide business with a tax number and a bank account and all that stuff. But the downside is the owner liability is unlimited. And also startup capital might be difficult to raise until you really around. I'm talking about startup capital, might be hard. And the business might dissolve when the owner dies. Okay. So that's an issue for a lot of companies that want to persist. Well, then you have your partnerships. That's usually used to share the management responsibilities between two co-owners. And often it's used when one partner is an investor and the other's doing the actual work, and the income's taxed at the partner level. Okay. The downside is the profits are shared between the partners, and there's still unlimited liability. It's just a two-person sole proprietorship, basically. Each partner is individually liable, and you need an extensive partnership agreement with options for exiting the business. It has to be laid out and drawn out. Okay.
And I
Yeah.
believe Alejandro had a question. I think he mentioned Register of Deeds. You're talking about the Secretary of State.
Registrar.
Registrar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Registrar. And it's in every county's got one. Okay. And it's $26 cash. Make sure they didn't raise it to 27 or something. I don't know what they did this as of January 1st. But nonetheless, it's the best deal in the universe. Start a business for start 5 businesses for $26. So yeah, so again, the profits, the partnership is pretty much just a sole proprietorship. with two people involved, and you've made a contract between you what your responsibilities are. An LLC, or limited liability company, not corporation, this is a limited liability company. It offers some liability protection for your owners, and it's not hard to form at all. You can set it up online. It's got far fewer rules and restrictions than corporations. But the downside is if partners are involved, because there's a partner type of LLC, you need that partner agreement, and you're also subject to state franchise fees and income tax if you're a partnership. Okay. Some restrictions on ownership and transfer also exist if you've got partners. So, but still, a lot of partners do that because it does offer that little bit of limited liability sweetness. Okay. However, let's, as an example, where you still have liability. This is not like a corporation where everything can be dumped on the corporation. In a limited liability corporation, say you do copyright infringement. Well, then, and you're the songwriter or the writer of the stuff that was blatant plagiarism, and you get sued for it. Well, sorry, you're the one that did this, and you're the one that's going to be sued, not your company. So you may have LLC, but it's not the LLC that infringed on the copyright. It was you that did the crime, basically. And so if it's you that that causes the problem or creates the harm, then it's you that's going to be sued. And the LLC is not going to get you out of it. Okay. Similar with some corporate situations, we've all remembered when the big corporations like Exxon and BP had their big giant oil spills, and the heads of the corporation got sued. So even a corporation doesn't make you immune. All right, well, but a C Corp, let's talk about the C Corp. A lot of people ask about that first. It's a lot easier to raise capital or transfer ownership through sales of shares because you get a corporation now. You actually have shares. You can sell people an interest in your company. Okay. It limits your liability for shareholders and owners. So shareholders and owners are not held liable if something goes crazy and goes bad. And it also continues to exist until it's intentionally dissolved. So you don't have the problem of the owner dying and the company thus no longer existing. Okay. The downside is they're kind of expensive to form and maintain. There's a lot more legal requirements, and the profits might be taxed twice because at the corporate and owner levels, you paid yourself taxes plus, so the income, you're getting profits, and so the profits are taxed plus what you paid yourself gets taxed as income tax. So you end up taxed twice. It's a silly thing. And you're subject to state franchise fees and income tax sometimes too. Now, to avoid the taxing twice thing, people often will go to the S corporation. The profits are only taxed once at the shareholder level, and limited liability for shareholders, and withholding tax advantage exists. Okay. But the downside is it's limited to 100 shareholders. The shareholders have to be individuals, certain types of trusts or estates, and it might not include partnerships, or it may not. In fact, you cannot have partnerships, corporations, or non-resident alien shareholders. So there's some limitations, and it's good if you're going to do such a thing. That's the point where you find a lawyer to talk to them about setting it up for you, unless you're very, very good at reading documentation galore, and then perhaps you could set it up for yourself. But we always recommend people get lawyers for legal types of things. Okay. And don't try to be your own lawyer any more than you try to be your own doctor. Alrighty. So that said, let's move on to the recommendations. We recommend that you keep it simple. Okay. Now, you do a sole proprietorship or a startup. And if your liability or taxation is a concern, then do the LLC or the S corporation. Okay. But when you're just getting started, there's filings you have to pay for to be an LLC or S corp, and nonprofit too. Although there's two types of nonprofits. One has a fixed budget, fixed top budget, And then you have the unlimited budget version, which is the more expensive nonprofit. But either way, you're having to pay filing fees and stuff. Sole proprietorship, like I said, $26 and you're in, or do a partnership. And you will have to get an attorney, I recommend, to draw up the papers, unless the two partners are happy with whatever they get at some website, some legal Zoom or something like that as a boilerplate agreement for partners, and they are happy with what's in it and they sign it. Okay, so, but yeah, keep it simple at first. You want to have your focus and your money on other things like advertising and marketing, and getting your product together and maybe getting inventory and stuff like that. Okay, so government regulations. You've got a bunch of business licenses and approvals for certain types of business, like hairdressers, nails. You have to get licenses for these things. Restaurants, you got to get inspected, approvals from the city, all this kind of things. So keep those things in mind. And you got labor laws. If you're going to have any employees, you're going to have this big sign that you put in a place everybody can see. You buy from the Department of Labor. It's not free. And you got to take into account your immigration laws and the IRS and Social Security withholding and payments. You've absolutely got to make sure that the IRS and Social Security withholding and stuff are handled, both, and also your state deductions. But you got to make sure that's all happening. Workman's comp is what I'm talking about. And if not, you're going to be charged for it later on, and if you weren't paying into the system, okay? And usually fined as well. So make sure you got all your ducks in a row with that stuff, okay? Yes.
I think Joanne had a question. She had raised her
Yep.
hand. It was in chat. She says, how are we able to replay this after the webinar
Yes,
is finished?
they'll be sending out a recording link to everybody that attended. Or at least they promised me that. Okay. Now, you usually have to get that business license of some kind with your county, and that's what you get for the $26 with a sole proprietorship, okay? Though if it's an LLC, it might be a little more. I think it's $120 in this state for an LLC. It just varies. Now, if you're an in-town business license, there's some cities that have their own business license thing that's separate from the county, and you have to look into that, whether they're going to hit you for that. Because a lot of bigger cities use that as a major income source for their tax base. But anyway, find out if there's an in town, if you're in the city limits, whether you're going to have to pay for a business license for in city limits. Okay. You can talk to your zoning people. The zoning people are definitely amazing, wonderful people. They'll help you, even though maybe they'll give you bad news, and then you won't be so popular. They won't be as popular with you. But usually they'll bend over backwards to help you make things work. And they'll fill out all the paperwork. And if you got to make a presentation for the zoning board, they'll help you with everything to make that presentation be happening. So I've had nothing but good experiences with zoning boards all across the nation. So always go in there with a smile on your face. Expect the best. If they've got zoning restrictions for the home-based businesses, they'll let you know, but they're the people that will tell you, okay? And certain types of businesses in certain categories, like those who sell alcohol or used goods, have restrictions how close they can be to schools and stuff like that. If you do hire help, you're going to have to comply with the labor laws, and they have tons of guidelines on how many hours an employee can work, the frequency of the breaks. You must have breaks, many other factors. There are also laws governing the hiring of immigrants. So as an employer, even if you're the only person in the company and you only pay yourself, you still got to follow those IRS and state guidelines for withholding taxes and Social Security, and set up accounts with your bank and deposit those funds so that you got them when you need them to pay them. And I say that for tax too. If you're collecting taxes, create a separate savings account that you throw all the tax money in, or checking account separate from the regular funds, and put all your collected tax money in there so that you never accidentally touch it. You're going to have it every 3 months. Give it to the state. Okay. All righty. All right, now, insurance considerations. You got your property insurance, your liability insurance, motor vehicles, umbrella liability covers all kinds of stuff. Workman's comp, health and life, and business interruption insurance. Business interruption insurance, as you know, is very big with the hurricane, prone Outer Banks. So, well, let's start at the top. Property covers your fire and other loss to buildings, building contents, inventory, home, and even in a home office business. It covers you for any of these things messing things up. And flood insurance can often be part of that if you're in certain areas. Your liability insurance covers bodily injury and property damage to others caused by accidents on your property, like even stubbed toes, believe it or not. For example, if a customer slips and falls at your place of business, okay, like on the in water collected by the door, always have those mats out, those slip-proof mats by the entry. um, Motor vehicles covers your bodily injury and property damage resulting from the business use of your motor vehicles. So you may have delivery service, right? And you'll need some extra coverage to make sure that that's covered. Umbrella liability gives you an extra level or layer of liability insurance that goes above the limits that are provided in your basic auto and general liability policies. So it's sometimes good to have that because of unexpected disasters. And it's just a good thing. Workman's comp covers injuries, death, and loss of wages to workers on the job, including you, the owner. If this coverage is not provided, then injured employees may sue the owner for the damages, including the lost wages. Of course, if it happens to you, you're the owner, and it happens to you, you can sue yourself. Why not? Go ahead. But that's pretty much required by the state. You have to have workman's comp if you have employees. And health insurance, it's usually a perk nowadays that is not so much of a perk because all the employees are being hit to pay out of their paycheck for some group plan or something. So especially if you're relying on your current job to get health insurance, you're going to have to put into health insurance options, even if you're the only employee. So you can go to healthcare.gov to see how the Affordable Care Act affects you. Um, but as far as the health insurance for all your crew, that's often an agreed upon thing, especially if you're a small team where you all agree upon which plan you're going to take up. I definitely encourage you to make that a meeting that everybody attends. Okay, then you have life insurance for yourself. If your family relies on your income, then life insurance can take care of them if something happens to you. And your business interruption insurance covers the loss of income you might have if a disaster requires your facility or storefront to be rebuilt. That's where your hurricane and flood stuff comes in. It's usually not sold as a standalone policy. It can be added to the business property insurance policy or comprehensive package. Okay. So usually it's an add-on that you add on to your other insurance like property and stuff. All right. Hope that's helpful. But yes, you definitely want to have some insurance stuff in there. All right, let's go through some business plan basics. Now, a business plan is super important. Has anybody here created a business plan? Just say yes in the chat. If you've already made one, there's one, and there's one, there's two, three. Yes, all right. Oh my gosh, this is better than usual. All right, well, I have 5, 6 still working on it. Man, okay, cool. And all right, well, if you haven't done it, don't worry. I'm not going to chastise you or make you, come to the front of the class. Good. Hey, all right, Peter, working on it. Cool. Well, if you're working on it and you realize this is something important. Now, how many of you dread the idea of creating a business plan? I mean, it makes you stay up. Huh? Any of you? Does any of you like go, oh, business plan? Is that a spreadsheet? No, it's not just a spreadsheet, but yes, we have a couple. Okay, even I used to really, really hate business plan action. but now I've learned to love them. I think that they're really fun, especially since the business model canvas thing came out. It turns it into almost like a board game where you, on one piece of paper, you've got pretty much your whole business plan summarized. And then it's really easy to transfer that into the full blown type business plan, including the spreadsheets and all. And the spreadsheets now we have at score.org, you go to the templates section. We have all those as templates. So you can just download them and modify bring them into Excel or Google, what is the Google one? Sheets, Google Sheets, and modify them to fit your stuff. Usually I end up taking out of several lines that don't apply to my business and adding a couple that do. So we're just changing the names, and the math is already built into the form, so it's easy. But anyway, yeah, it's still really important. The business plan, this is why I really encourage looking up the business model canvas in the templates and filling one of those out at the very least. By doing it, you get a little bit of a more objective view, the outside view of your business, right? And but it becomes a real foundation for your planning everything. You get this kind of bird's eye view of all the different issues, and it becomes really useful for management and for communicating your ideas. Now, this is where especially that business model canvas thing, look for that, write that down, business model canvas. Okay, I'm going to write it here into the chat so that you know what it's called. There you go, business model canvas. We have a template for that at SCORE, and there's some online that you can fill out online. But many of the online ones make you pay if you want to be able to download the PDF version of what you've done for work. But there are free ones online. But still, it's easy enough to type into the templates that we provide. Don't type a whole lot. Don't make them into a book because it's got to fit on one page, and you want to learn to summarize your language, okay? But you're going to need a business plan, a proper business plan, full-blown business plan if you're ever going to seek a loan. But even if you don't want to seek a loan, it's super useful to do this exercise, even if it's just on the business model canvas level, as an exercise to get this bird's eye view of your business, who you serve. Basically, from the middle to the right is customer facing information. From the middle to the left is supplier and vendor and workers and tools and other expenses type information. And the bottom you have your expenses of what things will cost you list. And on the bottom right, you've got the income of how much money you're going to be bringing in and from where are the sources of those. So it makes it easy to kind of get this overview of your business so you can slap down in front of anybody. You put it in front of your mother, they're going to say, oh my gosh, what a great idea. I didn't know I had such a genius. So it's a great thing. Business model canvas, you'll like that. And then you can flesh that out into a full-blown business plan with spreadsheets and stuff. And start on that kind of stuff now. Like I say, get in the habit of keeping your spreadsheets up to date, of monitoring your cash flow, because that's what banks are going to want to see. And they're not going to even pay attention for the first year or two, because they want to see that you can handle cash flow on a regular basis, not just put up the appearance of doing it for a couple of months. And but it'll help you too to be able to see that kind of stuff. Okay. And it really helps you think of these details you might not otherwise even be considering. And it really becomes a roadmap that your business can use to to map out what your future activities are going to be. And it's something you can continually be updating and revisiting to say, is this still what I'm about? And so even if you dread the idea of creating a business plan, just understand it's a really important step in helping you establish a foundation, like a real foundation for your success as an entrepreneur. You're going to be referring to this document over and over again, and it makes it the ability to communicate your ideas to yourself, to bankers, to employees, to partners, to supporters, a million times easier. Okay. All right. So I think I sold that pretty well. You're all going to you're all going to make a business plan, aren't you? Just say yes in the chat. please. Cool beans. And yeah, go to score.org and get those templates. Oh, and what you're going to learn from the library in just a few minutes is going to make it even easier for you. Okay. So, but that's still in a little while. 15 minutes, right? Okay, I better talk faster. All right, your business plan contents. It's got the table of contents, the executive summary, section 1, the business, section 2, financial forecast, section 3, supporting data. There you go. I'm done with that. No, well, wait a minute. It should contain, if you really do a business plan, usually has a cover that has your logo in the front and looks really nice. You know, you're trying to make a classy document that the bankers and people are going to say, whoa, these people have all their ducks in a row. And you got a little table of contents, lets them know what's included inside. And you got this thing called an executive summary that you're making a business model canvas will make it easier to write this. It gives kind of an overview of your inception of the company, why you started it, what kind of talents the owners have, and a very simple map for success. And in section 1, you put down what the business is going to produce, what services it'll provide. Section 2, you give a detailed plan of where the money will come from, how it will be spent, and the forecasted growth. That's usually where you put in the ideas of how your marketing is going to go down. And then section 3 is the supporting data. That's all of your spreadsheets and stuff. So, and you might even show, you can show screenshots of like your analytics from Google Analytics. If you've got a website and things like that. So, but the real benefits of the business plan is that you get this roadmap for the business that you can understand, anybody can understand, and it minimizes surprises and it details a business plan for lenders. And it's totally required, even though they'll admit to you, they'll say right to you, the bankers, that they make sure you actually did the first sections and then they throw it all over their shoulder and just look at the spreadsheets. So pay attention to the spreadsheets big time. Okay. That's why I say get started early, because that's the main thing they're really interested in. All right. Every business owner needs they put this in the wrong order. We usually spell it bail, banker, insurance agent, accountant, lawyer. So everybody needs one of these. And these should be people you find that you can feel like they're family members. I kid you not. You should feel like you could tell them anything, that they're the people you would call when you had a baby. You would, anything. These people are, you trust them and you know that they trust you and they support you, that they like your business idea, that they are into it. They're like team members. Okay. So have that good relationship with your banker. It'll assist you down the road in getting your loans and credit, but establish that thing. Find out which bank is that you can really talk to. Meet the bank manager too, not just the loan officers. Meet these people, talk to them, see if they like your idea and how good a vibe they give you. Your lawyer is going to handle the legal setup of the entity. Any lawsuits could arise. You want to be able to really trust this person, feel comfortable with them, and they'll become like friends. So you can call them up and ask them questions. Your accountant too. They're going to file your quarterly taxes and keep you up to date on accounting requirements and stuff. I will tell you, accounts are usually all business, just the facts, man, nothing but the facts, but not always. So, but that's just the nature of someone who wants to be an accountant, I think. And insurance agent will shop around for your best coverage and pricing for your policies. And again, you team member. And then finally, they have this thing called business mentor. I don't even know what they mean by that. It's like some innocuous, vague term. Oh, wait, unless it's a score mentor. Yes, get yourself a mentor score, and they'll definitely guide you through your ideas, and they'll act as a voice of reason. Sometimes they'll help you outright with some things, but their job is to be a mentor, to actually help guide you and talk things through with you. Okay, that's the job. All righty. So have those things in place and feel really good about all of these people. including your SCORE mentor. You don't have to stick with the first one that you get assigned to. And you can add as many team members. Your SCORE mentor can get you team members with specialties in all kinds of things. I've gotten people who specialize in the coffee industry, for instance, and for people starting coffee shops. And I got them not from North Carolina; they came from other states. So you have your mentor has access to every single mentor and special uh, uh, skills person that volunteers in the United States of America. So all those people are accessible for you to support your business. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, small business readiness and assessment. Well, I'm going to skip us to this because we're trying to get to the library thing, but we have a little self-assessment thing that you can work out, and we're not going to do this, though. I'm going to skip it. Do this for yourself, though. They have this at score.org. I'm not sure if you got sent this when you signed in. I'm not sure where this even comes from. I have no idea. But it looks sort of like this. Maybe you didn't get one. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to just do this live. But because we're trying to get a lot done today in just a few minutes, we're going to not worry about this. I have a feeling you're all going to do this, and this will save me. I only have 10 minutes left, and I don't want to spend it. Okay, so your homework, write a vision statement for your business idea. It should include the overall purpose of your business, what you're trying to achieve, and why you are in business. Describe the products and services that your business provides, and explain what is important to your business and the values your business lives by. Now, do you think you can do that? You'll write a vision statement, because this vision statement is going to be inspiring for you. But again, one really cool thing about that business model canvas is that it does this for you, and with even more details than just writing a little essay to yourself. And it becomes super useful, not only for you, but for showing other people the answers to all three of these. So definitely do that business model canvas thing. You're going to love it. Okay. So now what? Let's be well prepared to proceed by testing the feasibility of one or more business ideas and get started working on a business plan and your financials on your business model canvas. Now, by testing the feasibility, that might be doing an internet search. It could be even using one of the chat GPT things, the artificial intelligence, where you can ask it to show you businesses that are making more than $100 selling this product, for instance, or this course, or whatever it is. You can ask it for average income levels of people in this type of business, and ask it for numbers in rural versus city environments. You could ask it about locations. There's a lot of stuff that the artificial intelligence has access to, that it summarizes for you without you having to read 100 different websites. Okay. There's a great new tool, two new tools. One is the Copilot from, it used to be called Bing Search. That's from Microsoft. And it's a great search engine that actually searches and pulls answers from actual websites. So there's not that usual artificial intelligence hallucination problem as much. But if you want to eliminate the hallucination problem entirely, use perplexity.ai. That is an incredible resource. In fact, it's so incredible. I am going to even plug them right in the chat. They call themselves an answer machine instead of search engine. They call themselves an answer machine. And it goes down and it goes out and searches all of these different sites and returns a summary of what parts of those sites had the actual answer to your question. So it combines AI and its ability to summarize with a search engine capability where it's actually returning the links to the pages it used to answer your question. So instead of you having, like with Google, having to go to the websites and read and find where on earth it is, that this returns a summary with all the answers already there. And if you want to double check what it told you, just click the link it gives you and takes it right to the site, its sources. Also, you can search YouTube. YouTube, when you make a video on YouTube, it makes an automated transcript for the blind. And so it reads the transcript and gives you a summary of what the YouTube videos were about. So you can even use this tool on just YouTube videos. And it gives you a choice to do scholarly, everything, YouTube videos, Reddit, or Wolfram Alpha if you're doing mathematics or scientific type things. So it's an amazing tool. I could go on for hours. So let's not waste any more time with that. You got the link, go enjoy. And do the collections thing, look into collections. Okay, so that's a great way to test the feasibility, is find out are other people making money with this? How much are they making? What kind of issues have they had? You can even ask if they're having problems. Okay. And so go through and also learn about more topics that I presented in this session. For now, defer your decision about going into business, but don't give up on the dream. Really, cannot emphasize that enough. Work with a SCORE mentor to fine tune your idea, to do the research, help you do the research. You might turn your SCORE mentor on to perplexity.ai. They might not even know about it. It's pretty new. And if you're already in business, then talk to me or to your mentor about your options. Okay. I'm in the coastal Carolina area, and my name's Terry Britton, and I'm the chapter chair of this chapter. Okay. Co-chair. And but you'll find me at score.org/coastal Carolina in the mentors section if you need to ask me a question. But really, find someone in your area. Use SCORE, find a mentor, find someone in your zip code, get as close as possible. But remember, you can meet by Zoom and have really good meetings that way. I have over 150 clients that I've been meeting. I've been with SCORE 10 years. And we do everything via Zoom nowadays, or phone. Okay. All right. So let's see, move on. So now we just finished the startup basics segment. There's session 2, 3, 4, and 5 left for you to be able to enjoy. And please do access them all and take great advantage of it all and the help that you can get from SCORE in general. Get to know score.org, tool all around there, and get to know your library and what resources it has. Wait a minute. Did I say library? What am I even talking about? Yes, you'll be amazed at what you can learn at the library. Now, go to score.org. I'm going to type this in here. It's HTTPS, folks. How long ago did they make this slide? There we go. So there's the link. And that has links to handouts and workshop materials and additional resources. But also just go to score.org and click on the templates section and definitely look at the workshops. Tons of recorded workshops, tons of live workshops. It's unbelievable how much is there. Okay. All righty. And that, I think, is that. So after we're done, please complete the workshop survey. When the SCORE meeting is done, I'll ask you to fill out a survey and give us a 0 to 10 on how likely it is you'd recommend this whole workshop to friends and colleagues. Why you gave that answer, and what's the most important improvement that would make you rate us closer to a 10 if you didn't give us a 10. But I know I'm going to get 11s from all of you, so I'm feeling very confident we didn't even need that slide. All righty.
Oh, and Joanne asked another question, says, is the area for mentoring where we live or where our business will be, or can I do both?
Both. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's not that important.
Okay.
It's nice if you get a mentor who's near where your business will be, because then they can come on opening day.
Very good.
All right. Well, now look at this. Oh my gosh. How on time? Oh my God. 1 minute to spare. I get to talk another minute. Forget
That's
it.
right.
Yeah. All right.
Totally
So now
awesome.
we introduce Christine Buchanan Wellman, and she's at the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library System, and she's about to blow your mind with the
Oh
stuff that
dear.
you can get access to online to learn all kinds of things about your competition, about your opportunity prospects,
Mhm.
the demographics of your area, you name it. There's so much knowledge that you get for free, and you're about to learn how to use it. Okay, so take it away, Christine.
Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Oh, you need to make me a co-host so I can screen
Oh, I
share.
do? Oh, gee, I hate
Yeah,
doing that.
sorry.
Hey, let's see. Where are you, panelists? There we are. Do do do. Co-host. There you are.
Hip
Boop.
hip hooray. Let me try again. Oh, okay. I think I
You
can do
have the
this now.
power.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. So now let me move some of this stuff out of the way so that I can see what I'm doing. All right. So, um,
We see it
as
all.
mentioned before, can you see the screen now? Can you see the screen share here? Um, as mentioned before, I'm Christy Buchanan Wellman. I'm an adult services librarian here at Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. I'm at the Independence Regional location, but we have wonderful staff throughout our library system that can help you with answer some of your business questions. And my goal today is to help you realize the value of your library card that you may already have sitting in your wallet, and it will allow you to access resources for free. The library has resources to fill the data that you can use in your business plan, and you've already paid for it. Basically, I know we have a value calculator at our library. So basically, it shows, for every dollar that's put into the library, you get $3 back. So it's definitely worthwhile, and a worthwhile investment. So today we're going to look at an example of a sample business and an overview of what we're looking towards to help you fill out the data for your business plan. If I was going to open a pet supply store, I would need some data. So first of all, do you have a pet? Hands up. This is a market survey. um, Thank you, Christy. That's great. Yeah, we've got some great pet lovers here. This is awesome. Let's see here. I'm gonna see if I can pop up the chat here so I can see what people are doing. Yes, very good. Okay, so the first resource we're going to talk about is ABI Inform. 70% of households in the US have at least one pet. Where did I find this information? The ABI Inform collection has a great resource in there called First Search Industry Profile. And it comes to us from Dun and Bradstreet. And it's really useful to go ahead and start giving you the stats to flesh out your plan and help justify where, one, for forming the business, and two, I hope to give you some options for where to place your business also. So right away, we've got our stats saying, okay, there's a need. And so my business will be fulfilling a need. Let's see here. Can I move down? There we go. And then we have another resource called the Data Axle Reference Solutions. There are 269 businesses in Mecklenburg County that are already selling pet supplies, and I can pull up that information through Data Axle. This is a resource. I should have backed up and said ABI Inform is available through the state library, so no matter where you are located within the state of North Carolina, if you go to nclive.org, you will be able to access this resource. And I'll show you how to access this list of databases. Whenever you go there, then it'll prompt you to put in your library location and then your library card number, and you can access it. So ABI Inform is available from NC Live. So is Data Axle Reference Solutions. This is formerly known as Reference USA. And it's basically like a gigantic yellow pages that's updated all the time, but it's more accurate. Not only can you search by topic, you can also narrow your search to, in this particular example, this did a search for pet businesses that were within the Mecklenburg County area, but you can even go smaller. You could look by zip code. You could look by street. There's a lot of different ways or you can, a popular one that I see a lot of people use is by metro areas. for whenever they're doing searches for their potential competitors, or it could be your clients. I mean, if you're doing a wholesale business. Um, Now, Data Axle also gives you this wonderful map. It shows you where those competitors are throughout Mecklenburg County. But it shows there are areas that don't have a pet store, and most people only drive so far to get their supplies. So if you feel that niche and there's a group of folks that you think you could serve, it tells you where the gaps are and where you're trying to put your business. Now, Simply Analytics is going to give you the demographics. The pet supply store should be located where people live who spend money on pets. And Simply Analytics is a wonderful demographic tool that's going to give you the maps that show you where people spend money on their pets. Of course, the darker the shaded area, the more they spend on their pets. And this information, Simply Analytics, this is a Charlotte Mecklenburg library only product. There are a couple of other demographic tools that are available through the state library. And one of them is called Social Explorer, and the other one's the State Data Bank, but they don't go into the specifics. They're going to give general demographics, but not like on spending behavior like Simply Analytics does. So if you decide that you think this is a really nifty tool to help build your business plan, you can get access to it remotely. All you have to do is get a Charlotte Mecklenburg library card, and then you'll be able to access it. If you're from outside of Mecklenburg County, it is $45 a year to get it, and it covers not only you, but everybody in your household. It's an annual renewal, and if you're 65 or older, it's $35 a year. So I feel like it's well worth the investment, especially if you're building your business plan. This particular map is showing you where people spend money on their pets, not by zip code, which is the default in Simply Analytics, but it's showing you by census tract, which is an even smaller area. So it really helps you zero in on the areas where people spend the most money on their pets. In 2022, people in Mecklenburg County spent almost $500 million on their pets. These folks spent almost $35 million on pet services. So these are the kinds of data and the stats that you can pull from within Simply Analytics, and you can build tables and pull from data to your heart's content. There's no limit with that. So however you want to pull that information, you can build all kinds of tables. So what this means is $500 million in sales, 70% of households, which equals over 297,000 in Mecklenburg County. There's 269 competitors that you have to consider in your area. Evenly spread, that's over $1 million per competitor within your area. You'd be serving over 1,000 households per competitor, and I can get a list of the businesses nearby to invite to the grand opening. So right away, you've got folks to reach out to let them know you're here. And also, Data Axle has access to white pages, so you can even zero in on addresses for marketing flyers, and then use that to drop into a mail merge, even through something like Microsoft Word, and then to put together your mailers to send out to potential clients in your area. Using Simply Analytics and Data Axle together, it's possible to narrow down the specific areas of town with high spending and low competition. And this is great to fill out your business plan. For likely areas, more details about age groups, education, race, language, and housing helps to determine what social media platforms might reach the most customers. So again, you can determine whenever you build this list what demographics you're trying to reach, and that will also help you determine how you want to reach them. So once the ultimate audience is decided, what do you say? Well, EBSCOhost, which is master files from here, which is through EBSCOhost. This is something that is available through the state library through nclive.org, so you have access to this through any library. You can use it to pull up articles from experts to give you authority on your postings. Also, another really nice resource that's available through NC Live is called ProQuest Central. And both of those are federated searches of large groups of databases. I would recommend if you're using the state library to actually do searches in both. I think you're going to be really surprised with the kinds of resources that you need, that you'll come across that you'll find useful to build your marketing flyers. Keep up to date on local business news. Don't wait for a little birdie to tell you. Now, these two particular resources, Charlotte Business Journal and the Charlotte Observer, they're available through our library and probably your library within your area. If they're within the Charlotte metro area and they post their news in these two resources, you would have access to them too through your library. But most of the time, libraries tend to purchase the resources that pertain to their local area. So if you're out on the coast, you're going to get access to the newspapers and business resources that are available out there, versus what we would purchase through our library here. But those are not available through the state library. Two other library resources that Charlotte Mecklenburg Library invested in is LinkedIn Learning and Universal Class. Both of these are educational self-paced courses. They give you information on things like website design, IT education and media production and business. And Universal Class is also a self-paced course for subjects like entrepreneurship, technology, health, career assistance, and more. Universal Class, if you complete within a 3-month period one of the courses on there, it can count as continuing education credits. I'm not sure how that would translate over into an educational institution so far as if it would be an equivalent, but it does give you that if you complete it within a 3-month period. LinkedIn Learning is something that used to be called lynda.com, and then LinkedIn purchased lynda.com to offer these training resources to people who have their profiles on LinkedIn. You would have to log in through the library's login to get access to it for free. And you would have to be careful to just use the library login. Otherwise, it will prompt you to pay. And you can't save your searches. So whatever your courses that you're trying to take, you'd have to earmark where you stop so that when you log back in, you can pick up where you left off. But it's still worth it for free. LinkedIn offers these kinds of things so that you can show right on your profile what your proficiencies are in. So for all of those little proficiency tests and skills tests, they do that through LinkedIn Learning, so you can show that right on your profile. So instead of looking for individual customers, you can find out where the herd hangs out. The Gale Directory Library is, I'm trying to think if it's something we have or if it's on the statewide. Let me see. Made my note there. I believe that that's that's a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library only resource. When I pull up, I'm going to stop my share and we're going to check because that one's really, let's see here. I'm going to come in here and check and see if we can. I'm going to pull up my screen here and we're going to check. I'm going to, nclive.org is where you can access these database resources. And I want to see if Gale Directory Library is on there. I couldn't remember if it was or not. Whenever you're there, you'll tap on the resources tab and just choose browse all databases. And we're going to pull up, let's see here, what was my topic here? It was Gale Directory Library. So I can click on G, come down to, okay, we've got Gale ebooks, but not the Gale Directory Library. So again, sorry about that. That's a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library only resource. I wish it was something that it was through the state library, but again, this is another reason to promote getting a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library card. We have the Encyclopedia of Associations. So again, you can find out where your local association is if you think there's local pet societies that you think would be in your area to promote your business to. Maybe there's ones for specific pet groups that you think might be beneficial to promote where your store is. that would be something that the Encyclopedia of Associations could give you information on. Now we can guide you through the steps of this process. I know that this is very brief with what we're covering today, but we can offer you one-on-one sessions at the library. You don't have to be a library member to take advantage of these are online. So you could go to the library's website, cmlibrary.org, and you'll click on the calendar tab up here. And from there, just check off business development and it'll show you all the Book of Library and Business Research sessions. And then you can sign up for a 1 hour Zoom session and we'll walk you through the process of accessing these resources and how to use them. I'm going to send everybody an info packet today. And those are going to guide you, those are going to give you tip sheets for everything that I'm covering today. So you'll have those to have for self-paced tutorials if you prefer learning that way. But we can also guide you through how to do those searches through a one-on-one session at the library. Well, it's a library. You knew this was coming. We've got business books, audiobooks, downloadable ebooks, e-audiobooks, videos, and more. And I'm going to do a new share here, and I'm going to show you some really nice ones that I enjoy. My first one that I wanted to share is available through the state library. It's called Gale eBooks. And whenever you see this NC Live logo, if you were accessing it remotely, this would be where it would prompt you for your library card. And once you chose your library and then typed it in, then you would see the database just like you see here. And under Gale eBooks, there's a category just for business. And my super favorite one here is the Business Plans Handbook. So if you are looking for an outline for a business that has actually been successful somewhere in North America, this gives you an actual business plan of a business that is actually off the ground and working in the United States. It's updated with new business plans about once a quarter. You can see we've got a couple of new issues that have just come out. So keeping with the pets theme, if I can come in here and I can search within the series, I can just do pet supplies since that was our theme that we started out with today. And it'll look through the whole series. I won't have to look book by book. This used to be in physical format way back in the day, but now it's all digital and much easier to look through. So again, I've got things like, here's a business plan for a dog treat business, online bird products retailer, pet business marketing firm, dog training business. So mobile vet practice, whatever your goal is, there's a business plan and it's worked somewhere right within the United States. These are actual working plans. So if you're like me and the thought of a blank page leaves you with that deer in the headlights look, something like this might be just what you need to help fill out that template on the SCORE site. So I'm going to click here. Here's the dog treat business. So it goes you through, here's your executive summary, here's your analysis, here's, so even if you can't use the information, what it's going to do is give you the outline to let you know what it is that you need to include in your own plan, which is absolutely amazing. So one of my favorite tools here, again, it's called the Business Plans Handbook from Gale eBooks, and it is available through NC Live from the State Library. So you should be able to access it for free from your library. So let's see here. I'm going to, okay.
John asks if to get an out of county library card, do you have to come in or can you do it online?
No, you can do it online. Great question. Can you see my screen now if I toggle over here to a new tab?
Yep.
Oh, fabulous. Okay. Well, if you want to get a Charlotte Mecklenburg library card, all you need to do is type in cmlibrary.org. And then we've got a real nice quick link up here at the top called library cards. And it gives you some information about whether you're a resident or non-resident. And here it gives you the info for the non-resident card, and you can just fill out directly, and it'll be an online application. And then once you send in that information, you can get a digital card and then access these resources right away. Uh, so pretty helpful. Um, let's see here. But yeah, I definitely think it's worth it. I think just by showing somebody Data Axle, I don't think they were in the state, even though they were uh, it's from the state library, but I think they were from South Carolina, and I don't know if the South Carolina library carries it, but I showed them Data Axle, and just by demoing that within the library where I was, I saved this man $10,000 from being able, so that he could build his contact lists and know who his competitors were. So it's well worth the $45 a year, even if you're a remote user. Um, but so here's the business plans handbook. Let me see. The other one that I wanted to show that was a super nifty resource what was the other one? Oh, yeah, yeah. If you are a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library holder, we have a wonderful ebook collection that is great. It's called Overdrive Libby. You can even install it as an app on your tablet or your phone. And this is a collection that Charlotte Mecklenburg Library has purchased. And whenever you click there and access it, when you click on Access Now, we have a curated collection of just business resources. So if I click on Collections and come over here to Business, it shows you the latest in business. These are instantly available to check out, whether you enjoy doing it by audiobook, things that were recently added, things in personal finance, best business books of 23, leadership resources. So something for just about everybody. And these are instantly available. Now, I say instantly available because you can get them electronically, but one thing about Overdrive is it works kind of like the physical model in that if there are we have a limited number of digital copies that we've purchased from the vendor. So if all of them are checked out, you may get on a wait list and then you will be email notified when the copy comes available for you to be able to check out, and you have a window of time to check out. There are some other resources that we have, one called Hoopla, and I'll show you that one too. Those are instantly available, but you get a limited number of tokens a month. That's how they limit people from just going all gangbusters and checking everything out all at once. Everybody has their way of putting on the brakes of unlimited checkouts. And with Hoopla, again, this is something that's accessible with a Charlotte Mecklenburg Library card. But we have a lot of nonfiction that's available through here. But you don't have to just look within the Hoopla app. You can, if you just, probably the best way to see where business resources are is to just go to our catalog and search. So if I just went to our catalog and did how to start a business, and it would immediately pull it up in the catalog, but also what it would do is no matter what resource it is, whether it's audiobooks, whether it's streaming movies or TV, whether it's a website or an online database, whether it's an ebook or a physical book, it'll tell you immediately where it is. Here's one that's a downloadable audiobook that's instantly available on Hoopla. I can click through on the link. It takes me to Hoopla, and whammo, there it is. You can, if you haven't already signed up, it'll take you through the process when you go through the steps to check it out, and then you could listen to it on your mobile device while you're in the car. So for all of you travelers out there. But so again, depending on what format you like to listen to resources, I would say there's something there for you. Whether you're pulling data from the databases to fill out your business plan, or you're just wanting something to help improve your management technique, there's something for you. So now let me go back to, oh yeah, I wanted to show you all of the resources within, is it this one? Yeah. If you're going to go to NC Live and access these resources, nclive.org, and it even has a subcategory just for business and management, and that will smash them all down. So ABI form that I mentioned at the top is right at the tippy top. Also, here's data Axle that we mentioned earlier that will hop you right in to get to that. All of these so far as the, let's see here. We pull up, okay, EBSCO, I don't think is listed under business, but if we click the E and went under the EBSCO ebook, yeah, ebooks on EBSCO host, that's listed there as well as Master File Premiere. That's the other one that's going to give you Master File Premiere under M, and also the ProQuest Central. So if I go back up to P, ProQuest Central is here. Those are the two big federated searches for articles, so you could pull out your stats to fill out your marketing flyers to get quotes from authorities. So again, you have quite a few things already that comes to us to the state library. It's just with Charlotte Mecklenburg Library, since we're fortunate enough to have a large enough tax base, we can afford to purchase a few more extra perks for our library, and we're truly thankful for it. We have a really strong collection management office that takes a look at what folks' needs are, and they're always looking for feedback. So anytime you want to post on our site and say, hey, and I have another site. It's not a part of this, but I have to share it because I know we've got some computer nerds in the audience. I'm so super excited about this resource. Let me close out of here so I can share it with you. This is something that, let's see here if I can. It's called, if you write computer code or you're trying to take training on anything like how to learn Python or anything like that, we just bought the O'Reilly Digital Library.
Oh, wow.
And we got it about a year ago, O'Reilly for Public Libraries. And it's just incredible with what you're able to access. Now um, you don't check out materials like you do on the other ebook resources. But what it is the reason why O'Reilly is so important is that if you're ever trying to learn the latest code language, our biggest challenge with being able to offer these books is that in the past, the latest books were always, the latest editions were always in print, never the digital editions. But the digital editions are always old, but that's not going to help you if you're trying to learn code for whatever the latest thing is. So it's like this horrible chicken or the egg problem. And and then all the books would be checked out, but they were so blasted expensive, we could only afford to buy like 5 copies, and they were always gone. So now that we have O'Reilly for Public Libraries, these code options are available. You have courses, audiobooks. Here's Intro to Generative AI if you want to know how they work. A Red Hat Certified System Administrator if you want to try and learn how to do that. There's a full course for that. Again, since this is for O'Reilly for Public Libraries, you can't create an account on there to keep track of your progress. You'll have to remember where you stopped whenever you log out. Only the academic version will allow you to create an account to keep track of your progress. But if you're working on any sort of certifications or whatever, this is available here. Functional Programming in C# second edition. All kinds of fun, cool stuff if you've ever wanted to know it, if you want to, create apps for your business. So it's not included in the presentation, but I'm being super nerdy right now, and I just had to share that one. But O'Reilly for Public Libraries, highly recommended, available. This is something also that Charlotte Mecklenburg Library has just recently purchased. We've only had it for about a year and a half now, and I'm so thrilled we do, because if you're wanting to learn on your own or you can't afford to take the classes at your local college, Here's a way that you can self-teach yourself. If you can always pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and teach yourself. You got the
Hmm.
resources right here. We're the last line of defense. If you can't afford to go to school, here's a way you can teach yourself.
Yep.
So, with that, that was the big thing that I had. Let me go back over here, and I will wrap up. My presentation again. If should you have a library card if you're in business? Well, why, of course you do. You need that to fill in the gaps in your business plan, to find your customers, have something new to say on social media, learn new methods, understand your client's industry, and succeed. So again, either contact us at the number you see there or also below. And also I'm going to be including a link to the info packet to everything that you see within this presentation today. You'll get a copy of this presentation. Also, let's see here. Let me do a new share here and let me show you everything that you're going to be getting. I don't know if I've got that in the right screen or not. Okay, here we are. Now I can show it. Yeah, I'll share that. And now, can you guys see the new screen with the
No.
score in the library
Oh, I
resources?
see the Dropbox on.
Right, perfect.
Hmm.
Because this is what I'm going to be sending you. I'm going to be sending you a copy of this folder, a brochure
Oh.
on Simply Analytics, so you know what it covers. Some wonderful library resources on small business, nonprofits, and nonprofit grant writing if you're a nonprofit. Business resources that we covered today, plus some we didn't. How to use Data Axle, where to find Data Axle, how to use Hoopla, how to use
Mm.
Libby, how to use
Mm.
LinkedIn Learning. Nonprofit resources that the library offers as well. I didn't even touch on that today for nonprofits, but we do
Mm.
have the Foundation Directory online. Although I will say for Foundation Directory for grant research, you do have to be a 501c3 nonprofit in order to use it. Simply Analytics tip guide, as well as a copy of the presentation today, upcoming school workshop dates, and also how to get into Universal Class and even load it as an app on your mobile device. So I'm going to be sharing that with you today. I'm going to do it right now. And let's see here. Let me back out of here. And I will go ahead and share that with you.
Mm.
I'll put that right in the
I
chat
cannot wait.
window. So that is, did anybody else have any questions for me about library resources or anything? I'm going to close out of this list. Let me stop my share.
I
And
don't
I'm
have the
going
share yet.
okay, I'm going to close out of the share and then that will
Paste
allow
it.
me to pull up the
Oh,
link, I
okay.
think a little bit easier
Chat.
so that
Hmm.
you can see it. Let me back out here to
Boy, you're the
my
first one to give this
list.
away.
What's that?
You're the first one I've worked with that gave this away. This is
Oh,
awesome.
really? Well, I mean, I just normally, so far as a packet of resources, see, I'm used to we used to do it in person back in the day. And so, and we used to print all of this stuff. So whenever we went digital on this is so much easier to be able to, okay, here's the link, and that should give you the info packet. Um, okay, should we contact local library if we are in a different state to access all these resources? Yes, see what's available from your state library because that should be available at all locations. And then also see what your local library has available. Ask about these different resources or do they have an equivalent to what you saw in the workshop today? And if they don't, recommend it. And show what we have done and say, we would really like to get this resource at this library. Because the more people who ask for these resources, especially if you're a library customer, they're going to listen to you. They're not going to listen to me. That I could talk to them blue in the face saying that we need this stuff and they won't listen to me, but they'll listen to you. So if you ask your library and put in a suggestion for purchase and say, we really need this and explain why, they're going to add it probably if they can afford it
Fantastic.
for sure. Okay,
Well,
234. I went a little bit over, but does anybody, I appreciate everybody's patience. Did anybody else have questions for me? or for score?
Any questions? Oh, the
I
Dropbox link is
did.
right
I put it up
above.
right up above. Uh-huh. Did you see the
You
Dropbox
sent it
link?
to hosts and panelists. Let me send it to everyone. I got it.
Oh, whoops. Okay, let me try again.
I did it. I'm doing it. There you go.
Okay.
It's in.
Okay, super.
And
Right.
to score.org to get assigned a mentor, find your put your zip code in, pick the chapter that's nearest you, and and though doesn't have to be, but it's just nice because if once in a while you might be able to do a person to person, right? In person meetings. In persons aren't done as much, but all mentoring is done one on one, whether it's by Zoom or phone or email or whatever. But if you meant by one on one, in person thing like at a coffee shop or something, that's also doable. Just specify that in your application that that's what you're looking for, and the client intake coordinator person that gets your application will try to accommodate you. All right. So
Yay!
score.org, that's the place. Well, thanks
Hip
everybody
hip
for coming.
hooray.
This has been
Yeah,
super. I've done several of these. This was one of the more enjoyable ones. Plus, I made it like right to the minute
you
where I
did
didn't talk
awesome.
over, invade her time. And so I'm very proud. Yes. And that was a great presentation, Kristen. Really.
Thank you. I'm so glad that it was helpful. I always like to throw in a little couple of extra zingers if I can, if I've got the time.
Yeah, me too. Like my whole spiel about differentiating, not doing the
Exactly.
price competition, never compete on price, ever. All right, great. You'll be hopefully receiving an email that, if not, send something to the Charlotte chapter of SCORE and say, "Hey, where'd my recording of this show go?" And so, but it should be showing up automatically. I'm pretty sure that's done automatically. It takes several hours for the recording to finish processing, so don't expect it right away. It's got to do a big
It's
thing
gonna do
in
a
the
big save.
background on the
Yeah.
servers, especially for one this long. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for everybody for coming. I'm so
Mhm.
excited for your business happening, and I want to really, really encourage you. Go with it. Go with it. Ask questions, solve problems, make it all happen. It's exciting. Embrace the busyness. Because you will be busy, but like I said, it's rewarding, it's fun, and you end up meeting some really neat people. Surround yourself with other like minds, and people that are going to encourage your business. And that could start with that banker, lawyer, accountant, insurance agent
That's
person.
perfect.
Okay, take care, everybody. Thank you
All
again for
right.
coming, and have yourself a wonderful weekend. Bye
You do
bye.
too. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.